Hi, this is Larry with Man Cave Mayhem. Today I want to talk a little bit about crash bars, specifically for the CT125. I recently did an install video of some crash bars that I purchased from SRC Moto. They did give me a discount to review those bars, so I just wanted to give you full disclosure on that. But nonetheless, I did a review on those and an installation, but this video is going to be more about why you should use crash bars and the looks and actual function of the crash bars, because that meant a lot to me. And I kind of became somewhat of an expert on crash bars because I crash a lot. And I feel that if you neglect to put crash bars on a bike, you're going to end up paying for a lot of expensive parts and plastics. The Trail 125, CT 125, Hunter Cub, whatever you want to call it, that bike has, I guess you would call them crash bars or engine guard bars, and we'll go into more detail on those, but they don't really protect the bike. If you drop the bike, which most of the time when you drop these bikes, it's going to be at a low speed, but you know, you're going to be dropping these bikes when you hit sand and stuff. It just happens. And I had a few good crashes that I'll show you right now.
There she goes.
Oh! Yeah, I crash a lot, like I said. Anyhow, but the crash bars that I'm going to talk about, I did a lot of research, and some of these crash bars that they have, I'll give you some examples. eBay and Temu and Amazon, they function. I don't think they do anything for the bike as far as looks. I think they're hideous. Some of them are hideous, some of them are just ridiculous looking. So there's kind of a compromise between how far you want those things sticking out. You know, after a while, it makes the bike so wide and weird looking that it doesn't even resemble the Trail 125. So I spent a lot of time in research and looking for a crash bar that would complement the bike and not make it look so dorky. I mean, they're a unique looking bike as it is, but you don't want to take away from those unique looks. You want to complement them. And any of you that have had the older bikes know that you don't want to take away from that nostalgic look. But yeah, it's kind of nice to have those bars to protect your legs. They protect the plastics, which can be very expensive and sometimes more than the bars. So I can tell you a little problem that I ran into with my first purchase. I bought some bars on eBay and they were Moto Skill, and I actually still have those bars. Unfortunately, I purchased them and they were for a 2019 to 2020, I think 2022. And so they did not fit my 2023 Trail 125. So I made the purchase. I bought them in Thailand. They were Moto Skill bars. And they were very expensive. By the time I got them shipped over and everything, I think they were probably like 350 bucks. But I liked the look of the bars compared to a lot of the other bars. They didn't seem to stick out as much from what I could see in the pictures. And some of the bars actually, you can buy crash bars very inexpensively that clamp onto the existing engine guards or engine bars that are on the bike. And I just think they look hideous. They're horrible looking. Now, I'll probably get beat up in the comments, but that's just my opinion on them. I think it's better to get an independent bar that fits the bike well and complements the looks of the bike. So anyhow, long story short, I ended up buying those bars. They didn't fit the bike. I went to ship them back, and guess what? It cost 400 bucks to ship them back to Thailand. So I'm stuck with a set of bars now, and I can resell them. I haven't got around to doing that, but they'll come in handy for this video because I'm going to use them in the comparison. I got 3 sets of bars here that I'm going to do a comparison on. I'm going to show you guys the standard engine guard bars that are being replaced by crash bars or having cheap crash bars put on. I'm going to show you the SRC Moto bars. I'm going to show you the Moto Skill bars and let you make a decision for yourself if you're in the market for crash bars for your Trail 125. If you haven't yet, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. Check us out at Instagram at mancave_mayhem. Now let's get on with the review. And as I said, the review I'm going to be doing today it's not necessarily a review, but I want to do a comparison on these bars, and I want you guys to have an idea of what these things are going to look like on your bikes before you spend the money that I spent on a set of crash bars that you can't return, or customer service that you're not able to get a hold of, or whatever. It all happens. We all do it. Don't make that mistake. It's expensive. First off, I want to explain to you what happened. So I recently bought a bike for my wife, and I started considering crash bars again because we will be doing some light trail rides, and I actually have a trailer that I made for the little Trail 125 so we can tow it behind our little Subaru and go places that we haven't went. But we're going to take it easy and slow it down, and that's why we're taking out those Trail 125s. But in that, I know that we'll probably take some spills, and I don't want to destroy my bike. I hate it when the plastics get messed up. I hate it when stuff gets bent up. So these crash bars do protect the bikes to a degree. So that being said, I started looking for crash bars, and I ran across this company, SRC Moto. What was cool about SRC Moto is they're located in the United States. And the good thing about that is they've got great customer service. So that was one of the things that really turned me on to SRC Moto, and the second thing, or the main thing, was I loved the look of the bars. What was crazy though is when I went to the website, the bars were sold out, and so I emailed them because they had a spot where you could email them for an update on when those bars would come in, and they responded quickly, which was amazing to me because that usually never happens. I got a quick response back. And I thought, well, what the heck? You know what? I'm going to ask and see if they do an affiliate program for YouTube. And they actually took me up on that. So they did. I did get a discount on those bars. That all being said, I feel like I've given an honest review, and I think these bars are spectacular. They're awesome. If I had to give some negatives about the bars, which I was unaware of when I purchased the bars, keep in mind and make a note of it if you have an existing rack on your bike from a different company that may not fit with these bars, those SRC Moto bars. And I'll give you an example. All right, here's my two Trail 125s. This is the 2023 and the 2024. This is what the factory bars look like, obviously. If you guys have one, you know. And we'll give you a comparable shot with the SRC Moto bars. Come down here. Kind of gives you an idea how far out they are. I'll zoom in on that foot peg. That'll also give you an idea. They don't stick out as far as you would think, but they're far enough to protect all your plastics, which is important. So you can kind of see that there. But they're very good looking bars. They have a slight they bend back slightly. You can kind of see that. So that's a good thing about them. One of the drawbacks that I had, or one of the problems I had, is I had a center rack on this bike that I liked quite a bit, honestly, a center luggage rack. You can see where these attach here. These bars attach on the top. There's two basic holes here, factory holes. They attach on the top part, and that's also where many of the center racks attach. You can see the center rack attaches right here on the top portion. So that kind of interferes with some of these other factory center racks or aftermarket center racks. So this is a Moto Skill center rack that I have here. I'm not going to be able to use that if I want to use the SRC Moto crash bars. So that's something to consider when purchasing those crash bars. Not a game changer. I reached out to SRC Moto, and they are sending me 2 center racks, and I'm going to be doing a review on those center racks soon. Obviously it's going to cost me a little more money, but I think it's worth it. So far I've been really impressed with the quality of their products, so we're going to go ahead and run with it and see what happens. So I'll keep you guys posted, and there'll be videos to come on those. So that's all for this portion of the video. So I could have probably modified those center racks, but instead I decided I'm going to reach out to them and pick up 2 more center racks, and I'll probably end up selling those racks to somebody else who's not interested in crash bars maybe. But I know I'm getting long-winded here, but I just wanted to make a point of that, so when you're shopping you don't make the same mistake that I made, which, you know, in the long run I'm not upset at all. I think the SRC Moto bars are far superior to most of the other bars that are out there, and as you saw in some of the examples that I showed, there's some hokey looking bars out there, at least in my opinion. You may have a totally different opinion, but what I was looking for in a crash bar for this bike is something that comes out enough to protect the bike, but doesn't stick out so far that it's limiting you on maneuverability, on just the way it looks. I just didn't want to have a crash bar that's sticking out 10 miles. So I think this is a good compromise on these. And I've got, like I said, I've got 3 sets of crash bars here. The original crash bars, we're gonna weigh them and talk about those. We're gonna weigh the SRC Moto crash bars and talk about those. And we're gonna take the Moto Skill crash bars, weigh those, and talk about those. And I just wanna show you the difference in widths of those and how much wider some of these other crash bars are. So let's get started. Now let's start out with the factory engine guard / crash bars, whatever you want to call them. They're actually an integral part of the engine. They kind of support the skid plate and run around the engine. So they're kind of more of an engine guard than a crash bar. These are totally, you know, decent bars. There's nothing wrong with them. They don't really protect the bike though. But I wanted to show you, kind of give you an idea about what the width is on these. Then we'll weigh them. So they're about, I would say, approximately 13 inches wide at their widest point on these bars. And let's get a weight on these. All right, this isn't super scientific, but I'm going to be using a postage scale with a board on it to weigh these bars. And I've got it, as you can see, I've got it zeroed out right now. So let's weigh the factory bars and see what they come in at. And it looks like they're about 3.5 pounds. Last time I measured them, they came in at about 4 pounds, but we're gonna call it 3.5 pounds. So 3.5 pounds for the factory bars. So if you're concerned about weight, you may gain some weight with aftermarket crash bar. I personally am not. The machine that I'm riding, that 125, is not a race bike. So I'm more concerned about getting out of tight situations or situations where I might drop the bike and coming out unscathed. So these bars are approximately 3.5 pounds, and let's move on to the next set of bars. Now here's a set of Moto Skill bars. Now I would call these one of the higher quality bars on the market. Originally, these were the bars that I wanted, and they didn't fit my bike. There was a reason I couldn't get them to work, and so long story short, I didn't use these bars because they were made for a 2019. So I have these bars, and I thought I would include them in the comparison. But Moto Skill sends you these bars. They're packaged well usually. There's the set of hardware that you get with them. Now let's take a look and see how wide these bars are. All right, so these bars, they measure about 22 to 22.5 inches wide at their widest point. So that's something to consider too, the width of the bars. Obviously, you'll gain maybe a little more protection if you fall. But like I said, there's a compromise when it comes to how far you want those bars sticking out. It makes them look different. And it also can cause some weirdness as far as loading the bikes is concerned. So you'll want to take all that into consideration when you're buying a set of crash bars. Now let's get these on the scale and weigh them. I'm going to try and pull these apart and put these on the scale, and we'll weigh these and see where they come in at. So they are approximately 5.5 pounds. So these bars weigh in at about 5.5 pounds. So that's the weight difference on these. You're looking from 3.5 to 5.5. So you're gaining about 2 pounds of weight with the Moto Skill bars. Not a bad trade-off. They're a well-made bar. Not quite as heavy as the next bar, but I'll give you my reasons why I like the next bar better. And so let's go on to the next bar. Okay, now we have the SRC Moto bars. As you can see, they come with all the hardware needed to install the bars. Let's look at the width of these bars. Now they're definitely wider than the factory bars, which is good because we want protection. But without the added crash guards that go on to them, they measure about 18.5 inches at their widest point, which is kind of nice because it makes them a little more streamlined. All right, we got these fat boys on the scale, and they're weighing in at about 7.5 pounds. So you're gaining a little extra weight on these, but I think the trade-off is not a big deal. A couple pounds. I know a lot of these adventure bike guys really want to shave ounces, you know, but I don't think you're going to notice a difference on this bike. It's not a performance bike. You really won't notice a difference. Now let's get back to the distance. So there you have it, folks. Now we're going to go over and look at the thickness of each set of bars so you have an idea, basic idea, the thickness of the bars, so you know what you're purchasing when you do buy crash bars. Let's get some measurements on these crash bars on the diameter. So I measured this one, and it's right at 3/4 of an inch in diameter. And that's the factory crash bars. Now let's move over to the Moto Skill crash bars. All right, on the Moto Skill crash bars, they come in quite a bit fatter, a little beefier. The main bar itself is at 7/8 of an inch. And the exterior guards right here, the exterior bars are at 3/4 of an inch, like the standard bars. So that's the Moto Skill. Next, we're going to measure the SRC Moto bars. Let's get a mic on these and see where we're at. The entire bar is all the same diameter on the SRC Moto bars. That's another thing I like about them, and they are beefy. Let's get a measurement and find out what they are. So with the micrometers, they came in at about 1 1/16, but I'm going to call it an inch just because of the powder coating. But they're definitely much thicker than the other bars, and you can see that just visually. And I think also visually that helps as far as aesthetics. I can't stop saying enough good things about these bars, and I know it's going to sound like I'm being partial, and I am, but not because they discounted them. I keep saying that, but not because they discounted them, but because they are good quality bars. Check them out, guys. You'll understand what I'm saying. So in closing, I'll have to say, again, I found the SRC Moto bars before they actually kicked me a little extra to do a review on them, and I like them just from their looks alone. But once I got them and saw the quality of them, I was impressed to the point where, hey, I actually was willing to take a loss on the racks that I put on the bike so I could put these on, because I think they're an integral part of these bikes to have a way to protect them, have them look good, have them perform well, and not hurt like I said, not hurt the looks of the bike. So my favorite bar out of any of the bars is the SRC Moto bars. I like them a lot. Again, I'm biased to them, not because they gave me a discount, but because I chose the bars before I even had a relationship with this company at all. And I just continued to be more impressed as time went on working with them. So I encourage you to check out their website. Take a look at what they've got. They've got all kinds of gear for different bikes that they carry. But of course, I'm focused more on the CT 125s or the Trail 125 or the Hunter Cub, whatever you want to call it, wherever you're from. But I think they have other very well-made products. I'm soon going to be doing a review on the rack for that Trail 125, so stay tuned for that. Also, if you haven't seen my installation and review video on the crash bars for the CT Trail 125, check it out here at the end of the video. I'll post it up so you guys can get to it very quickly by the push of a button. If you haven't yet, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. Check us out at Instagram at mancave_mayhem. And just remember, folks, I'm just a man in a cave causing mayhem. Thanks for watching.